suppose use my story, do documentary to give people hope.
In Nigeria, fraud is not only a lifestyle revered by millions. It is not only an essential means of survival, it is one of, if not the most lucrative businesses in the country.
In every industry in Nigeria, there's an avenue for fraud.
When you look at the sums these guys steal, Jesus, damn.
The Nigerian prince email is dead. It's not, nobody still does that.
They're a key factor in the entire economy, you know, but obviously what they're doing is wrong.
This is very deep for you. What to talk about? I'm just telling you, this is our discourse, okay? If you want to go there. As much as I hate to admit it, fraud has made a lot of people that would not still be in poverty escape it. It has really brought a very heavy injection of capital into the Nigerian market. If you drive through Lekki right now, Lekki phase 1 right now, you will see all sorts of young people that are out at all sorts of the days during the week. And you're wondering, what do these people do? How do these people drive all these cars that they drive? How do these people live the lifestyle where they are spending some people's annual or 10-year income sometimes on a daily basis, and the money doesn't seem to run out? What kind of business is it that these people are really doing?
The lavish lifestyles of Nigeria's young and super rich flood social media. They own the latest luxury cars, clothes, and live in opulence. Comments of praise and worship flood their social media accounts. They are worshipped by the masses.
Snapchat and Instagram is everything to these fraud boys. That's where they can show their opulence. They can. It's new money, and people with new money just love to show it. That's the name of the game. They want you to that they were brought into this world as, and when you think about it, that every 15, 16, 17-year-old boy is online. These are the people that their favorite stars look up to, so these are the people they look up to. When you see that, your Wizkid, your Zlatan, your Naira Marleys are glorifying fraud boys in every single one of their songs, every single one, then there's no wonder why your average child on the street is also glorifying these fraud boys. Because as far as they're concerned, that is the only way they can escape poverty. And it's also the quickest way.
Obvio. Thank you for the hospitality.
Yeah, we like money too much. We like money too much. And that's why money's worshipped.
Billions of dollars of American stolen funds have been traced directly back to Nigeria. On a year-to-year basis, the FBI has found it very important to bring just like they did in the cocaine trade in Colombia, they've brought the fight to the source. So they want to try and interject it here before they can make it all back to the US, or before they want to try and know what's really happening here, so that they can understand why it's so bad and why it's so rampant. So they're trying to engrave into different criminal organizations, or at least try and understand.
So they have boots on ground?
They do. Other people are paid informants, or they have boots on ground, of course.
2020, the year of cracking down on these kingpins. There was Kingsley, also known as Jeff Sikora, who was pinned by EFCC for an alleged $8.5 million bank scam. Then there were 11 Nigerians arraigned by the US government for an alleged $6 million bank scam. Then there's Babatunde Abiodun, aka Kashi, who was arrested by EFCC for cyber crimes. But arguably, the most infamous of all Nigerian kingpins is Raymond Olorunwa Abbas, also known as Hushpuppi.
I can't keep myself, I can't keep myself. Allow me to flex. This life I can't keep myself.
He was arrested in Dubai and extradited to the US. According to Dubai police, his entire gang was responsible for fraud up to $435 million. And the US government sued him, alleging that he has stolen hundreds of millions of dollars in BEC fraud.
Business email compromise. The money they stole, the $35 million, belongs to the United States government for COVID-19 kits. The COVID-19 kits are going to be used to test people. So they hacked into their system or went through an email scam, and whoever's running that system thought it was maybe Nigeria or another country asking for COVID kits to buy. They fell for it, they logged in, and they stole their password. The same way OBOKK did Invictus Guy, as well as the 80 Nigerians. Nigerians have been doing BEC scams for a long time.
Once they are able to hack into your system, once they're able to get your credentials and to clone your computer, they can start making orders or standing orders or approaching your bank or your customers on behalf of you. So then, if you're expecting a payment, for instance, of $1 million now, they would provide a standing order that all further payments between the two companies that are dealing with should be paid into a separate account that is not from the company that the fraudsters provide. So then, once the money is paid, this is where the complexity of the fraud starts to begin. Once the money has actually come in. Now, how do you get you see the US has gotten very good in tracking fraud money, so usually the money is sent out of the US almost immediately to a safe haven country where they know that what they call the money dies. So once the money gets into this country, the chances of recollection or recall drastically reduces. So that's why they say the money has died. There's no way they can get the money back.
The US government sued Hushpuppi, accusing him of committing a $14.7 million fraud from a financial institution. And the most significant was the scheme to steal £100 million from the English Premier League football club. As devastating as Hushpuppi's crimes have been to his 1.9 million victims, his story is a compelling one, a tale of rags to riches.
Why is it that my elder sister, the one I was immediately born after, had to die of just typhoid in Nigeria, in Gagada General Hospital? Why did my sister have to die? Because my parents didn't have enough money. Why did she have to die? Because they didn't attend to her quick in the hospital. Do you know how many families are suffering different kind of pain within their hearts because of negligence of the government, because the government don't cater for them? I don't suffer for decades. I never enjoy reach 5 years safe. So now they look, say no, they're supposed to bring me back to come suffer. Say this, no, now I must suffer. People not supposed to get hope. People no deserve hope. People not suffer that must they used to. Yeah, now even only me, now ain't get. And now look, say only that me I supposed to suffer. I no deserve enjoyment. I can't escape. I can't escape on our country. Just few years now, I don't enjoy. This enjoyment never even mature. Just this small enjoyment where they enjoy. Look, say, meat where they chop for abroad. Now in they affect Nigeria. Now it make Nigeria no good. I no deserve to chop meat. I no deserve to wear better clothes. I no deserve to look like human being.
When you pull back the layers, you see a hustler that did everything in his power to make his way out of poverty. In a country with over 100 million people living in extreme poverty. A country where upward mobility is near impossible. This hunger for survival is relatable.
At first, I just thought that they were just young kids who were just kind of getting into trouble, and that was just part of their growing up. But now I've come across people who literally have to do it to survive. They don't know of any other means to make money in their countries. The government doesn't have programs to take care of them, and so really it's kind of their last option.
So would you say that the Nigerian government supports fraud?
The Nigerian government does not support fraud, but they do not create enabling conditions for people to do without fraud. At least the people that are not so well off in society, there are not many options. The prospects for getting a good education or even a job are so low in this country that many people that naturally would not have an inclination to fraud are forced into it, because that's the only way they can see for survival. Because if you meet some of these fraud people, unless they tell you what they do, you would never know. You would just think that they are very normal members of society. They go to church, they pay their tithes. They pay their tithes with fraud money, by the way.
I think one of the reasons why money is worshipped so much here is the poverty, because money is what takes you away from poverty. And poverty keeps you looking backwards. It doesn't let you look forward. So as a result, you're doing everything to ensure you don't go back to poverty. But you don't understand, or you don't realize that you've made some money. Now, what you need to do is find a way to continue making that money in a proper manner. Unfortunately, most of these guys, they've made the money through fraud, through corruption, through some inflated contract, whatever you want to call it. So they don't actually understand what it means to create value, to create industries. They don't. So as a result, all they can do is just keep stealing. And what people don't understand is the cost for the corrupt guy to stay in a position to be corrupt. When he steals, he has to give this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy to cover his back.
On one hand, you have an innocent victim. In Hushpuppi's case, almost 2 million people around the world who have lost millions of dollars.
I do see a lot of comments from people who have fallen victims to scams, and it is kind of sad to read about. I mean, I get so many emails from people saying, "Oh, I've lost thousands of dollars. Can you help me?" And I wish I can. I don't really think that I'm that. I'm not a detective or anything. I'm just really a storyteller who wants to just show what this part of the world is like and what kind of people are behind these scams. So yeah, there's unfortunately all kinds of sad stories out there of people falling for these types of things.
But on the other hand, scamming is a lucrative business in Nigeria and has brought many people out of poverty. Are you saying that these high-level corporations are involved in fraud?
I would not necessarily say involved in fraud, but they are complicit in the fraud. Some of them are directly complicit. They know what's going on, but they allow it because they have loopholes in their guidelines that allow them to do so, and it also helps them make more money. The last recession that we had in this country, there was a serious shortage of foreign influx of currency, dollars especially, and many of these banks desperately needed this injection because all the big corporations, the large corporations that were previously investing into Nigeria were all pulling out. So the banks were desperate to get more FX coming in. They connived with a bunch of fraudsters to help them, to essentially provide them safe havens where they could launder their money, or they helped them launder their money under direct and indirect means or accounts or fronts. It's on an individual level where a manager that has a certain override capability or has an approval rating can just be easily compromised. I mean, the average salary of the average Nigerian is not really more when you consider the kind of poverty that people face in the country. See, you have to see that these people treat this thing like a side hustle. It gives them more income than their actual salary. So they go hard for their trade.
Fraud extends from area boys all the way up to government institutions.
There's essentially a fraud template for every budget that you could have, whether it's just the person that wants to buy 100 megabytes of data because that's what they can afford for a day or two to talk to whoever they're trying to across the world or to deceive whoever. or the people that invest as much as up to $1 million to buy some certain hacking tools or certain documentation that will help them perpetuate even larger fraud. Large-scale fraud, especially in this country, is very organized, it's very widespread. It spans different governmental agencies, banking, industries, political class. Even the systems that are put in place to check these fraudsters only create other fraudsters.
How so?
Okay, the EFCC is full of fraudsters. They are literally fixers that are billionaires today in Nigeria because they are the plug between EFCC and regular people. They're the ones that can tell you, okay, you have this problem with EFCC, I can make it go away, it's going to cost you this much.
How do you know all this information?
How do I know this information? I live in Lagos. And I live in Lagos, meaning that I have associates that are closely connected to these people. I have a lot of BDC friends that trade in Forex. In Nigeria, it's a matter of making enough money so when you get caught, you can buy your way out. Oh, you have $100,000 in the house. How about we just say you were not in the house and we just walk away with the money?
While the fraud business is accessible to all, it is still very secretive.
They are all mostly university graduates. They all have specialization in one thing or the other, which is why they are able to easily get visas to go around the world to set up bases, as they are called, or office stations. And once one of them gets there and sees that, okay, there are a few formats or templates we can work here, this is a good place to receive money, this is a good place to send money out of to use as a transit hub, or okay, there's no repatriation, there's no extradition treaty with another country, so this is a good safe haven for us to work from. Even from junior secondary school, there are what they call formats that kids are learning these days, that they pick up from Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. There's carding, where information on different victims are harvested online through you can buy them on different websites, or people can get them themselves through hacking or through data stealing from just access. So if you have an insider in a company, you can pay them to get either the payment schedule or the payment logbook or the employee credentials. They have all the name, address, social security, everything. They sell all these things online. You can buy for thousands of companies online. Not just their cards, they use their whole financial history, your whole credit profile,
What do they do with it? How do they extract the money?
There are different ways that they can do that. They can either start new credit lines on the person's name. They can either clone their banking information, get a bank to essentially detract their online banking and give the hackers access to it. They can use it to take over their email. They can use it to take over even their IRAs, their retirement funds, their pensions. They can use it to take out home equity. They can sell their house without their knowledge. Most Nigerians are involved in dating, what they call dating, which is where you look for vulnerable or naive people online to befriend or start relationships with, and then they try and trick them out of their money using different cons and schemes.
International news media outlets, it hits different. They bang different when they're talking about crimes that have been perpetrated by Nigeria. When you read the news articles, that's when you'll be hearing most, worstest, blackest, most wickedest, highest, most dangerous, heinous. That's where you will hear words like that when they are reporting Nigerian criminals. Then they will mention Nigeria 10 times, regardless of the fact that the person that they're talking about has dual citizenship. They will forget that person is a citizen of their land. No, they will send him back to where whence he came from. They'll remember that his father's father was Nigerian.
Yeah, I get a lot of complaints. Some people say that I'm unfairly targeting Nigerians, and I don't mean to do that. I'm just kind of sharing stories of things that happened to me. And it turns out that a lot of these people that try to scam me do live in Nigeria. It's not the only place. It happens a lot in Ghana. It happens a lot in India. But I'm just trying to be real. I'm just trying to be honest as to where I'm seeing these scams happen.
We don't have very good role models in this country. And when you think that the people that are elected to take care of our affairs are really the biggest fraudsters in the country, then what do you expect for the young boys watching them trying to be like them?
The most corrupt people are the ones who are making the laws about corruption. It starts from the politician. You have a politician who is indicted for stealing billions. He pays maybe 2% as his, whatever you want to call it, to get out of jail. Then he goes home and his people have a welcome party for him. They take this guy to church and do a Thanksgiving. That yes, you stole money, but you didn't go to jail, so thank God. Fraud is a corruption, I believe. Corruption, I guess, it's a crime. Fraud is also a crime. So they are like brother and sister crimes. The thing is, the corruption, I think, has led to the fraud.
Beyond the many ways that scamming takes place within the Nigerian government, from the usage of public funds as personal monies, where the Nigerian government shines the most is during the elections.
I mean, when you look at the fact that a lot of campaigns in the last election were mainly sponsored by fraud money, how, I mean, these boys are openly moving with them, taking pictures with them, they are getting appointments under some of the biggest politicians in this country because of the money that they have invested into these campaigns before the election.
There are several ways the elections are rigged. There's the old-fashioned snatching and even stealing of ballots. This method often happens in more violent conditions. Another method is when parties deploy envoys who bribe voters to vote for their party. Then you have the thumbprinting method where riggers thumbprint on multiple voting sleeves. And then there's also some people who purchase multiple voters' cards. To be honest, there are as many methods as there are loopholes in the voting system. And because the system is analog, it is a lot easier to keep it flourishing.
The political class in Nigeria is highly gullible, greedy, selfish. When elections are approaching, our politicians arm most of these jobless boys you find on the streets with weapons. They import them. To import weapons in Nigeria is no big deal, because we've talked about how porous the borders are anyway. Good. Arm these boys and eventually use them for politics or to see themselves through the elections, after which to disarm them becomes a problem. It becomes a problem because I've talked about they being greedy. They cannot part with what it takes to disarm them. That is, of course, taking care of them monetarily so that they could go set up on their own. So at the end of the day, the boys go back home with the weapons. And of course, society is threatened.
But politics isn't the only place for fraud. There are other, more surprising areas.
Some churches are used to launder fraud money, even political money, but it's mainly fraud money. There's a very popular church in Anambra right now that their pastor is going viral on the internet every day because of some of the more overzealous fake healings that he does in the church. Most of these Igbo fraudsters, when they go back home during Christmas, because they watch his show all over the world online, he streams his church sermons all over the world. So a lot of Igbo people that live in Malaysia, Indonesia, all these places, they love to watch him. He's very. So when they come back to Nigeria, they want to. It's like a tourist attraction for them. So they go there and they can arrange. They have VIP sitting in the church. So you see all these boys wearing Versace and they have 4 kilograms of gold on their neck. They are just there. They are spraying money in the church. They're having a full-on party in the church. But
what was the pastor preaching?
Prosperity. prosperity gospel. That's it. Nigerians are addicted to it. Nigerians are addicted to the hope of prosperity.
And not the hope or the avenue of service necessarily.
Oh no, that's not what it's about for Nigerians. Nigerians believe that God is a way to make things happen for them in their life.
Not the other way around.
No.
If it can happen in church, the music industry is a no-brainer.
The Yahoo people sometimes, the Yahoo boys, 419, who have money.
They're the ones that are funding the
Yes.
So actually, the Nigerian music industry would not be what it is today if not for fraud money.
Okay, why?
Fraud money has literally bought the Nigerian music industry. We will still be in the age of the P-squares and the low budget videos from the 90s and early 2000s if not for the influx of fraud money that has entered the...
No. They're a blessing to the industry, 100%. They're a big blessing, but it could be a curse just a few years after to a young artist. They're attached to him, you know. Minus, no, you owe him. To be honest, he has invested millions in you.
You have to understand that some of these people are using this money as cover they're laundering it through entertainment. Others are using it to give them cover as legitimate businessmen that are just heavily invested in entertainment. They try and make it look like that's their cover.
Yeah, you know, it's a terrible thing, right? But I don't know them, you know, so that's what I'm saying. It's a terrible thing if they're caught. They should be arrested for sure. But let's not ignore the fact that they brought power poverty. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Corruption, you're stealing from your people. But internet fraud, you're not stealing from your people. You're stealing from different people. You know, so it's two different scenarios. One is just way more dark. That's definitely stealing from your people is so dark. It's stealing from your family for. That's why I say black people don't like themselves. Like, what are you stealing from your people for? What you want your people to suffer for and you want to go and spend it there? Like, that's what I'm saying. So
basically you're saying it's almost like an ecosystem where
it's a solid ecosystem.
Where
Right. Yeah. Back. What can we do? You know, it's also if the government was better or if there's more corporate industries, we won't be bothered. We won't know they exist.
You know, people who are scamming just need to realize that there are ways to make money. That, you know, technology and the internet has allowed us to become a more globalized world, and so, you know, there are people in Nigeria who can provide goods and services through the gig economy. They can get online and they can do graphic design, or they can do voiceover work, or they can do coding or tech. There's a lot of opportunities with the internet now. You know, these scammers are so clever. They're able to impersonate FBI agents or romance partners. They should be able to figure out ways to do honest work, I think. So I think that it's really twofold. We need to educate people who are falling for these scams, and then we just need to help the scammers see that there are legitimate ways to make a living.
This life I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself. Allow me to flex. This life I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself. Allow me to flex. Many years me I done the go. Rock the mic, me I rock the show. Many hit songs when I go. Still them go say me and now they try. I see them complain of Kanye West. In speaking mind the people best. Everybody wants to be the best, but the world can do without the best. Akwake can sing it Jehovah. Nobody did that Jehovah. I say happen to my car. Declare them for I. In a thing cool enough for that. He do them like Fimo. This life I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself. I can't keep myself.